Hey, onesies, Josh Williams here, and thanks for checking out this week's episode of the One Man Podcast. It's always free and available on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, and many more, as well as on the web at onemanpodcast.com. So please, whatever platform you're listening on, like and subscribe. While you're at it, give it a rating, leave a review. Why? Because it helps the podcast, and I'd really appreciate it. How about that? What about social media? Search One Man Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube to keep up with what's going on there. Get a little extra content for yourself. And finally, to get in touch, please send your emails to contact@onemanpodcast.com. You send it, I read it on the podcast. That's the deal. Thanks for listening, guys, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode.
Hey, it's Paul Meyerhog from the Comedy Network and Comedy Central. You're listening to the One Man Podcast.
Yeah!
Hey, it's Josh Williams, and welcome to the One Man Podcast, episode number 103 for Wednesday, May 1st, 2019. How's it going, onesies? I am recording this live from my car. Oh, I've got my handheld recorder here. I'm not sure how good the quality is or if I've got it too close to my face, but we will find out in post-production. If this is something that works, I might actually be able to get the podcast. You know, maybe I don't have to go through many hoops in order to get the podcast recorded on a weekly basis. Maybe I can just lay in bed and record into this thing. This week, welcome onesies. We are going to talk about pretty much the same thing that everybody is talking about right now. Everyone who is cool/nerdy. Avengers Endgame. I saw Avengers Endgame opening night. Man, was that ever a great thing. I'll chat about that. I also, went to dinner. I hung out with Crystal. We chatted. We watched some documentaries. What else did I do? I got to hang out with Brody and reconnect with that little fella, not so little anymore. Probably I did some shows, a couple of shows out of town. I will tell you guys all about that. So let's get right into episode 103. Man, 103. It's almost like 100 starting to be a little in the rear view now, a few weeks in. Hope you guys are enjoying the nice weather. I am driving right now, so I'll also look forward. You know what? Anyone who wants to give me shit that I'm holding a recorder while driving, you can send those emails to contact@onemanpodcast.com. Let's see if I can get some, angry emails. You're going to come. I don't give a fuck if you email and give me shit. Also a weird way to start off the podcast for any new listeners. If you happen to be a brand new listener of the One Man Podcast, I don't normally take my life in my hands like this, but I'm just, I got a lot going on, and this is kind of going to help me get this thing done. So why don't we just jump right into it? I had a fun week last week. I think I've been working on my taxes. That's been an interesting little thing, but it's actually going way smoother than I thought. I'm dragging ass a little bit in the process, but I'm sitting around listening to podcasts, banging away the data, and I'm almost done. As a matter of fact, I'm recording this on Tuesday as always, so just stuck in Queensway Highway traffic here. Also, just while I'm thinking of it, I want to give a big shout out to all my listeners around the world. I got lots of downloads coming from Nova Scotia right now, so huge ups to Nova Scotia, being amazing onesies. Sorry, I'm repeating myself here. I'm looking to make a right-hand merge here in the lane. Oh boy. Yeah, so thank you, Nova Scotia. Thank you, Florida. Florida, I've got some downloads. In terms of the U.S., they're all over the map right now, but Florida is a big state for me this month. Thank you so much. Just want to thank all the people listening, no matter where you are. I appreciate you. And I'd love to hear from you. All right, so now that I've yammered on for a couple minutes in sort of a no direction. Last Thursday, I sat down with my buddy Casey Corbin. You guys have heard, I hope, that episode. It came out on Friday. I hope you, if you listened to it, you enjoyed it. And then Thursday evening, Avengers Endgame, big night. I took my my mom and her coworker Manny. We've actually been kind of like the little trio that every time one of these movies comes out. I think we saw Black Panther together. We saw Captain Marvel together. I don't remember if we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp together, but. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it doesn't. Not that it really matters, the narrative, but we've been going to see those movies. So I think it was. I actually was performing in Kingston at Absolute Comedy when the last Avengers movie came out in April, And my mom came with me. It sounds so fucking lame. Again, if it's the first time episode, like, this guy goes to do everything with his mom. Yeah, huge mama's boy. Not really. I'm just spending some time with her before she's dead. So she came to Kingston with me for the last Avengers movie, Infinity War. So she was exciting. There's not a whole lot that she's into. My mom just kind of watches things. You know, she's at home. Well, she's all about YouTube now. And now that she's into like the superhero movies and has been for years, she's like all about these YouTube videos. My mom is the kind of person who will watch like, a Marvel movie or Game of Thrones, and then she'll watch like a day or two straight of like YouTube fan videos where they're, dissecting everything or whatever. So it's funny. She likes that, but I can't get her to listen to podcasts about the things that she likes. Anyways, doesn't matter. So, it was myself, her, and her friend Manny at Avengers Endgame. So we went out to dinner first. And, this probably won't relate to anybody outside of Canada, but we went to Montana's. And Montana's is a really cool... Fuck that. Montana's is a place that we used to go to a lot. I used to go there with Crystal and the kids all the time. I don't want to say like high-end restaurant, because it certainly is not, but it's like I'm trying to think of like a U.S. equivalent, TGI Fridays kind of thing. I don't think it's like a Cheesecake Factory. It doesn't fucking matter. The point is sit down restaurant, like a little, maybe let's say an Outback styled Denny's for my U.S. listeners. My point being is that we went there because it was supposed to be, every time we go, the food is reasonably priced, right? And I'm going to say, between $10 and $20 for a meal. Of course, if you're going with steaks, you're paying closer to the $20 side. And if you're getting a hamburger, you're like $12, $13. This is all Canadian, in case Americans are outraged that bad. But I want to say that we got there, and everything on the menu was like minimum $16, $17. Like, we're talking a burger and fries was like $15.99. And I'm not going to bitch about this for long, but I was really surprised. I really don't know what sit-down restaurant you can go to now and not pay like $15, $16 for a fucking hamburger. I'm not cheap, but, you should, kind of get what you pay for. Don't you think? It's not like this is a fucking high-end restaurant. It's not Milestones or... I'm going straight across the Carrey catalog on this one. But, I didn't find it to be particularly... It's not a super nice restaurant. So it's like, how do you pay, $15? And then you get the food, and it's nothing. I actually ordered to try to be a little more unique. I'm like, listen, I'm paying $16, $17. I want to get something a little outside the norm. So I got one of those, like, chicken with waffles for bread or whatever, like a waffle chickens kind of sandwich thing, and fries. And honest to God, it's like fucking, they give me like no fries with it. Fries are a cheap thing, whatever. But I'll tell you, normally I'd be like, that fucking sucked. But I was on my way to see Avengers, man, so like nothing was going to get me down. But I wanted to mention that thing, that I'm having a harder and harder time finding a place. Like, I go to Five Guys, I'm a happy guy. They give you a shitload of food, a big hearty burger, This might be a little fat fucky to sit here and just bitch about food, but I know there's some of you guys out there that know exactly what I'm thinking. Like, I got to a point where I'm like, I'm sorry, but if I'm going to Subway and paying $13 for a foot long, there better be some fucking food on it, It's everything's getting more and more expensive, and the portions are smaller and smaller. So I find myself... picking and choosing where I'm going to fucking eat based on, history. Are you guys like that? Huh? Somebody tweet me or email me or whatever. Just say, hey, like, what's a restaurant that you used to go to, fast food or sit down, I don't give a shit, that you just stopped going to because it's too expensive or the portions are garbage. Like, talk to me. Make me feel like less of a fat fuck. Anyways, all of us, like, I think we all spent a reasonable amount of time with the menu because none of us, like, I will put it to you this way. Macaroni and cheese on the menu was $16. Mac and cheese. A mac and cheese skillet with bacon. It's like basically mac and cheese with bacon drizzled on the top. And they're like, $16. Does that make sense to anybody? Does that make sense to any fucking buddy? So, whatever. Then we hopped in the car and we headed ourselves down to the theater. That place was fucking packed. We actually tried to get reservations down in that area. There was Jack Astor's, Joey Joey Lansdowne. The Joey restaurants, I didn't realize. I thought it was just like an independent one. But Joey restaurants are the chain. And then, of course, every Joey has like a Joey this or a Joey that. So we couldn't get into there because they were full. We tried calling that morning. And all the restaurants near the theater were packed. And all of them, we didn't even tell them what we were coming for. Just, hey, can we get a reservation? They're like, nah, we're completely packed because of that Avengers movie. So, and this was like the Thursday night, right? So it wasn't even the official release date. It was just the first fucking day you can get a ticket. So that's why we ended up going way down to a Montana's when we drove down that way. Oh, man, is this an interesting podcast so far. Is this thing even still recording? I'm going to give it a quick little bump to see if it's still... Oh, yeah, we're still going. 10 minutes in. This is definitely... I'm being so productive. Record a podcast and driving at the same time. Can you guys hear the... Can you hear the fucking clickety-click turn signal? That's what it's called. Yeah, so we went down to the theater. Theater was absolutely jammed, and we went to see it in AVX 3D. Pretty spectacular. I'm just letting the mother unit in. I am actually getting the windshield replaced today on my HRV, so she lent me her car. But of course, I'm picking her up and dropping her off from work. So that's making things a little bit easier. What's up, Mom? I'm recording the podcast.
I didn't have time to go to the bathroom.
You didn't have time to go to the bathroom? Well, you're not going to have time now. How was your day? I don't care. No, I'm kidding. I do care, but I'm recording. You're right. I don't really give a shit. You work for the government, so it's super boring. But I'm recording the podcast, trying to save some time here. What? I am watching your car. So I was just in the middle of telling everyone how we went to see Endgame. I just got to the part where we were done being unhappy with our portions at Montana's. Is this person going to let me go? It looks like a nice person. I don't see the traffic. I think the podcast listeners are going to love that. I'm not... Yeah, well, I can't go right into the side of this thing.
No, but...
Well, no, well, that...
All right, well, okay.
Anyways. So yeah, we went to go see Avengers Endgame. No spoilers. I just talked about how we got to the theater. It was 3D Ultra AVX. What would your no spoilery review of Avengers Endgame? What did you think of it, Mom?
I thought it was top notch, and to have Game of Thrones and
Fuck Game of Thrones
and Endgame in like 24 hours was like too much for the senses.
Well, it wasn't within 24 hours. Your Game of Thrones was like Monday or Sunday night.
I know, but all I could think about on Friday was Game of Thrones. Or not Game of Thrones, Marvel.
Endgame?
Marvel.
Yeah.
And then all day, well, yeah, pretty much all day Sunday, I was anticipating the Game of Thrones. And they were both battles. And they were both epic battles where you couldn't see everything. It was like a 3-ring circus. You can't see everything at once.
Yeah.
You have to keep playing it over and over and over just to be able to see everything. There's so much going on.
All right. So your review of Marvel Endgame, without spoilers, is that you watched Game of Thrones on Sunday.
Yeah, and they were both freaking fantastic.
Yeah. Are you... So, I mean, no spoilers on this review. Guys, if you're Marvel fans at all, first off, this is coming out on Wednesday. So if you're Marvel fans at all, you've had 7 days where you could have seen it by now. And if you haven't still, that's it's pretty sad.
Well, Kevin Smith said, well, fuck you.
Is that what Kevin Smith said? Yeah, but he didn't have any spoilers.
He said, you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it now. And I'm going to wait for you. And then he stopped for like 5 seconds. He goes, no, I'm not going to wait for you. Fuck you. Go now.
But he was joking about how he's like, I'll just sit here and wait for you to go see it. He's clearly joking. I was telling them how you just sit around watching YouTube videos about shows you like.
Well, yeah, they tell you stuff so you know what to look for.
There you go.
You
So,
have to think.
were you satisfied with the ending that they gave? Again, without any spoilers, just did you enjoy
Yes,
it?
I did, except they should have had some kind of a memorial for
Whoa! That
somebody.
would be spoilers.
Somebody. Okay.
That would be spoilers, so... Yeah. It was, I thought it was good. You haven't been watching the Marvel movies as long as I have. You've seen them all, but you didn't watch them as they came out. You kind of got caught up in the last 4 years.
You forced me to see, like, a bunch of them.
Yeah, and are you glad I did? That's gross.
Yes, I did. I'm glad I saw all the movies before I saw Endgame.
Yeah, and I was telling them how you came to see Infinity War with me in Kingston.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Did we see it in Kingston?
We saw it in Kingston. You came to my show with me, and then we drove to the theater in Kingston and saw it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I know. You don't remember much. Do you remember who Thanos is? What happened? I'm kidding. There's probably people who haven't even seen the first Infinity War, but like the the trailers and everything have basically let you know what's going on. They're like, oh, the ones who stayed and this and that. So
yeah, but they're tricky. They're tricky with what they tell you to kind of make you think something's going to happen, and then it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, basically, I think it's unprecedented what Disney and Marvel did with these movies to build you up with characters. So for anyone who's, not really a comic book person or whatever and listening to this podcast, I'm not going to waterboard you with the Endgame stuff, but I mean, this is a 3-hour-long movie, and it's not a 3-hour-long movie where you go into it and you have to be introduced to characters and learn their whatever. Like, you go in, you already know who everybody is. So it's just 3 hours.
All the movies all over again.
Yeah.
So that you can watch it again, only this time you're going to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, Kevin Smith said, thank you, Marvel, for making me a kid again, because when we were there and something good happened, everybody goes, ah, just like your kids at a matinee.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. There was, he said it's the closest thing to actually seeing a comic book in a movie, because there's just so much going on. There's so many things. He's like, it's the kind of thing that you can't do with a Broadway show. You kind of can't really do with a TV show. It's really something you got to see in the movies. And what else did he say? He just talked about the fan service. If you are a fan at all, like they don't cheat you out of good shit. It's really, really well done.
They harken back to the other movies, which is good.
Yeah, and you get into it right away. So again, I'm not gonna go off any more about it. If you're looking for something,
that's part of the thrill. The fact that you saw that movie, you know what they're talking about. They say one sentence, and you're like right there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's people who've watched them all in the whack. Jason was watching the movies this morning. Well, he doesn't know, and he's watched them all in order. He's seen Infinity War. He hasn't seen... today he watched Winter Soldier and Age of Ultron, because he hadn't seen any of those, but he's seen, like, Black Panther. He hasn't seen Civil War, so it's like he's seen Homecoming. He doesn't know how Spider-Man got introduced. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of people who are like, nah, you don't need to see them all. Those people are idiots. It's pretty fucking hot in this car right now. I thought I'd do this because I knew we were going to be stuck in traffic. Why are you showing me memes and like Trump as a dog meme? That is dumb.
I will build a dog park and the cats will pay for it.
Fucking annoying. Every time I tell people that I went to go see a movie with you or that I hung out with you or whatever, I feel the need to like justify it, because I'm like, you're going to be dead soon and I'm going to miss these opportunities. And it's like, what am I spending time with? Your dog memes.
I wish I'd be dead.
Stupid.
Soon.
I don't wish you'd be dead. I just wish you'd move on. You're honestly like a 15-year-old at this point, where you're looking at memes all day and watching YouTube videos about other things.
Oh, Jesus.
But I'm happy. I mean, you work for the government, so what do you got to live for, right? Anyways, so what I'm trying to think of what else I did this last week. I did. Stop it! What are you watching fucking videos for while I'm driving? I really don't love this traffic.
Where are we going?
We're going to the dealership.
I know.
My windshield is getting repaired today. Remember?
Oh,
We drove there this morning. Did you forget already?
I didn't know what you were freaking doing.
I know that. I've never accused you of being on the ball with things, Mom. I did shows in Cornwall, Mom. Can I tell you about that?
Yeah.
I'll tell the audience at the same time, but I'll tell you about that. I did 2 shows. I did a show on Friday night, and I did a show on Saturday night. Same location. It was a fundraiser for Uganda. Do you know where Uganda is, Mom?
Yes, north in Africa.
North in Africa?
It's not north, it's below Egypt.
Do you know how far away from Wakanda that is?
Wakanda is somewhere in the middle of Africa, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. It's not a real place.
I saw
it's not
it
a real
on a
place.
map one time. You know the map in the
You
back?
saw it on a map?
Behind Captain America, there was a bunch of,
of
maps, and they had Wakanda in Africa. And it was sort of Middle East of Africa.
Oh, it's the Middle East of Africa?
Somewhere around Ethiopia.
What do you think the religion is in Wakanda?
Atheist.
You think they're all atheists? Because they're technologically advanced?
Right. You've got room for God.
How do you know that vibranium is not the body of Christ? Maybe that's
because you can't chew it.
Because you can't chew it?
Yeah.
But interesting.
You can't be that technologically up to date and still,
you hear that, listeners?
Candles.
That's right. You can't have an iPhone and an imaginary friend in the clouds.
No.
Not allowed to have them both.
No.
You pick.
No.
So yeah, it was for Uganda. It was a fundraiser for Uganda. That was the show. Here's something, Mom. Can I tell you something that really bothered me? I'm talking to you because it makes it more interesting that way.
Because you think you're talking to
Stop
a real person.
putting fucking videos on, for fuck's sakes.
Because you think you're talking to a real person.
Because I think I'm talking to a real person.
If you talk to me, it's like you're.
It's a little bit easier if I talk to you. It makes it a little more engaging, at least for me. I don't know about them. The fact you keep putting videos on and making noise that this is going to pick on.
I'm trying to show somebody about the flooding.
You're trying to show somebody? Why don't you talk to me? Your entire newsfeed is nothing but Trump memes.
No,
So polarizing.
It's not. There's lots of stuff on it. I'm looking for the flooding in Huntsville to show somebody.
Who cares? There's floods everywhere. Extra, guys. A lot of flooding in Ontario. It was a lot of winter this year, so we had a lot of flooding. The fundraiser was for Uganda. And here's the thing, Mom. I drove down with Wafik. You know Wafik. Wafik actually said to say hello, and he says that you're always very supportive, and it's always good to see you. He says he hasn't seen you in a long time.
And that you're not my mom.
That you're not my mom?
That's the pickle guy who says that.
That's Mike Danbra.
Mike Dan.
Yeah, that's not Wafik. That's a different name.
I know who Wafik is.
Anyways, I drove down with Wafik, and Waf and I were like halfway there, and neither of us had eaten. Stop. Anyways, I don't know. Off-on it might clear all your video shit out of it, but I'm going to take that away from you. I'll close your fucking account. I pay your bill every month. I'm turning that fucking shit. Stop it.
Okay, now look.
Stop turning on. Yeah, it's Trent. I don't want you to be playing videos while I'm recording the podcast.
I'm not playing videos.
Yes, you are. You're constantly playing videos. They keep going. You fucking onesies better not side with her, by the way. If I get emails, you should be nice to your mom. I've only had to her like 15 times. It's honestly like a child at the dinner table. Put it away.
Oh, I can't watch you drive.
That's fine. You can't watch me drive?
Yes.
I swear to God.
Oh, there's a pothole. Kidding.
So I haven't hit any potholes. This fundraiser, that I've said for the millionth time, in Uganda, Waf and I were on our way down, and it was at a golf and country club. I've played this golf and country club before, and my buddy Mark, well, let's just say Mark. I don't want to insult him. I don't have anything bad to say about Mark, but I just feel sorry for him. Mark does a lot of shows in Cornwall. He's probably the most. There's been a lot of producers out of Cornwall for comedy shows. Mark's the only one with a good heart and a good code of ethics. A lot of Cornwall comedy producers have fucked a lot of comics out of money and shit like that. And Mark has actually been the recipient too, because Mark's booked me for a lot of shows. And then, 2 days before, the show just cancels and we don't get money or anything like that. So, we don't end up doing the show, but we've also blocked off a weekend that we can't, do other shows on or whatever. So I went down. Mark was like, we're good. We got a deposit. This one's going to go off with the hitch. I'm like, that's great. And message on the way. When you're doing a show, when you're doing a dinner show at a golf club, usually they will feed you. Especially when you're coming in from out of town and everyone else in the room's getting fed. They'll usually feed the comics or at least give them a couple of drinks. So I asked, I was sitting chatting with Waf. Wafik was driving, and I just, I sent Mark a message saying, hey, by the way, are we getting fed there or whatever? And he goes, let me check. And he goes, no, there's no food. He goes, but you can order a meal from the bar. And I'm like, yeah, so can everybody. You know what I mean? Huh? That's like me saying, hey, are you going to feed us? It's like, no, but you can go to the restaurant and order a meal. Like the way he said it was like, oh, it's okay, but you can go to the bar and order food. It's like, yeah, everyone can do that. It's not a special thing.
Sounds like Jason.
No, Jay feeds the comics.
Oh.
Yeah, we're the show.
Yeah, but sometimes you want to go and have the nice dinner and there's not 12 people, so you have to go.
No, that's, you're thinking of dinner and show and you're thinking from a customer's position. I'm really glad I'm having this conversation with you, Mom. What I'm saying is that when you go to a show out of town, they usually feed you. All right? And in case anyone's listening to this who may or may not be a comedy producer or hire comics or hire anyone some days, if you're bringing people in from out of town at dinner time and they're going to be there for 4 hours, It's not a bad idea to be a good host. You wouldn't invite someone to your home for 5 hours and not, feed them or offer them a drink. That's the thing. Even the drinks weren't covered.
But there's people who are like that.
Yeah, well, usually golf club owners are not like that. They're not hurting. They're not hurting.
Go back to their house.
Well, we didn't go back to the.
If somebody doesn't feed you.
My point. Yes. Well, yeah. I guess mom's 2 cents is you're an idiot if you go back to their house. They don't feed you. My point is, if you're hosting, especially if you're hiring, people you're hosting, whatever, and there's food there. I get it if we showed up and there was no food. Not a big deal. Everybody else is eating, and when you're cooking for 150 people, there's enough to put a couple plates aside for your guests of honor, let's say. Anyways, they didn't do that. They also didn't offer us any drinks. Mark at one point is like, I'll get you guys a couple drinks. I'm like, no, Mark, it's not your responsibility to feed the comedians. Again, when I said I feel bad for him, because Mark's a good guy. He's like, I'll buy you guys some drinks. I'm like, it's not your job. The person who purchased the show or whatever, the host, of this event should be the one to make sure that everyone who's a part of it gets fed. So it's funny. I was just bitching about Montana's, how we went to Montana's and the food was expensive and the quantities were not plentiful. She's back to her phone, so she's not even listening.
You're whining about not.
I'm whining.
About
I dislike you in many ways. So many ways. Let me count the ways. You're old. That bothers me. Looking at you reminds me of my own mortality.
Not getting fed.
I'm saying that the amount of shows I've done. So here's the thing. I've actually had comics say to me, because sometimes you'll do a show in a venue like a theater where there's no food, okay? But there's drinks. And they'll come back and say, hey guys, can we get you anything to drink or whatever? And a lot of comics will be like, no. Or even where you're doing something like at a community center where they've brought in food and they go, hey, can we get you guys something to eat? I've had comedians tell me, if people offer you food or drinks, even if you're not hungry or thirsty, just say yes, please. Nibble at it, have a few sips. But the reason being is that when comics, habitually say no, then they just stop doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's like that whole vote or they'll take it away thing. It's your responsibility to vote, because if everyone just doesn't vote, then it's not a thing we need to do. But that same logic as comics have said to me, like, yes, because they'll go do a gig, they say no, go back the next year, now they're not offering anyone any food or anything. So I said, just say yes, just so that's something that they continue to do. So, anyways, I don't think, all my onesies, my regular listeners, they're all people that I've never been 4 minutes in their home without them going, can I get you something to drink? Everyone's inviting me over for dinner and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a kindness, it's a courtesy. And especially if you're trying to, you want us to fucking perform for your fundraiser on an empty stomach, huh? Are we going to bring our A game? I don't know. It irked me because I think this, it wasn't a big deal initially when he's like, there's no food. I'm like, all right, that kind of sucks. But then when I found out that the organizer, because here's the thing, the owner of the golf club was not the organizer this time. It was actually the guy who was putting on the fundraiser. But he's raising money for Uganda. They had all these African crafts and things like that they had brought, brought back to sell, to raise money and then bring the money back to Uganda. Like, it was all for Uganda. The golf club owner was charging everybody through the nose for everything. They were charging them for the linens. They were charging them for everything. They weren't providing this. And when Mark asked them, hey, is there any meals from the comics? He goes, well, who's paying for it? You know what I mean? So, basically, for a fundraiser, the venue was squeezing them by the balls, every last drop. Of course, everything that they charge them doesn't go back to the fundraiser people. You know what I mean? Doesn't go back to the recipients of the good deed. So, anyways, the show went fine. I was there with Wafik. I was there with my buddy Jeff Leeson, who I haven't seen in a long time, but there is a bonus episode of the One Man Podcast that everyone can listen to with Jeff on it. So I would definitely say check that out. But yeah, we had a good show. Waf and I drove back, shot the shit. And actually, there was a lot of other things. If everyone's feeling like this is bitching, well, it's going to go on for another 5 more minutes. It is. I'm just going to share. I've had people tell me recently that they like to hear about the ins and outs of comedy. So let's say for starters, it was annoying because they were like, nah, we're not feeding you. You're not getting drinks. So we're just like, okay, so we're stuck here for, 4 hours, 5 hours out of pocket, round trip, an hour and something there, hour and something back. It's a small town. So by the time we're done, everything's going to be closed anyway. So if we're feeding ourselves, they're telling us we were allowed to buy like $25 plates ourselves. I was like, yeah, fuck that. not making a ton of money, so we're not going to waste it on. And again, you buy the meal, it just goes back to the golf club. It doesn't go back to the fundraiser at all. So we're not even helping. So anyways, that was annoying. Then we find out that the golf club owner is being a prick. And Mark's telling me that he fucked him out of money previous times because we were talking about previous events and things like that. So show was supposed to start at 8 o'clock. All right. At 8, I think 8:10, they're like, okay, we're going to get started. The organizer's going to do a speech, and then we're going to pass out people are going to go around collecting raffle tickets. So I'm kind of like, okay, so we're not getting started anytime soon, you know? And once they went around with the raffle tickets, we finally started the show at about 20 to 9. And then I find out that they're doing an intermission. Do you think an intermission is a good idea for a comedy show, Mom?
Not really, because you're trying to build people up to laugh, right?
That's right. That's correct. An intermission is the worst idea. So again, those of you who are interested in it, one of the things you don't do is you don't start the show 40 minutes after it's supposed to start, because this is all old people. There was a lot of members of the golf club, this and that, senior citizens. They've been there, by the way, since 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. Show's supposed to start at 8, so it's a 2-hour dinner service. Show's supposed to start at 8, doesn't start for another 40 minutes, and then during the show, they're going to have an intermission, a 15-minute intermission, which always turns into 20 or 30 minutes.
Because you got to have another person warm up.
Well, that's exactly what I had to do. It's basically like right when you get them warmed up, you stop everything, grind it to a halt, and then start all over again.
Well, that's stupid.
Yes, it is very stupid. It's, so basically it was like that first night, Friday night, was just forever. Building them up, letting them cool down. Build them up, letting them cool down. So the show finally ended fucking forever later than Waff and I got out of there. I didn't get home until I think 1 o'clock in the morning. It just took us so fucking long.
The last time?
Friday night in Cornwall. And then back there on Saturday night. It was cool, actually. Waff had seen Endgame too, so him and I got to talk Avengers in the car. And it's always fun to talk to Waff, so it was a good trip. The commute was good. It was just lengthy, and we didn't get home until late. But that was the Friday show. Saturday show, we went back again. We knew what to expect. It's funny too. Mark was like, you know what? Tomorrow night I'm going to bring you guys pizza. He's like, have you ever had Cornwall pizza? And I'm like, no, I don't imagine. It's not like Cornwall's known for being the pizza place. And he's like, oh no, Cornwall. He's like the pepperoni's like this, and he puts his fingers an inch apart. He's like, it's like an inch of pepperoni on top. And he's like, the cheese is like this, like 3 inches. So you're picking up a slice of cake instead of pizza. Was his description. He's like, I'm going to bring you guys Cornwall pizza tomorrow night, so at least there'll be food for you. And I'm like, that's amazing. I also didn't bitch to Mark that there was no food. I just said to him, I go, for a guy who's making all this money off the food, there's leftovers, whatever. And he goes, I'll bring you guys food tomorrow. That's not necessary. He goes, no, if you've never had Cornwall pizza, I'm going to bring you Cornwall pizza. So Saturday we get there, okay, anticipating pizza. I get in, and he goes, we might have to run out and get a few more pies. And I go, oh, why is that? And he goes, it was just all the volunteers, when it got here, all the volunteers jumped into it. So I was like, oh, all right, well, it is what it is.
So the guy's not learning his lesson that you have to feed your people when they work for you?
Well, he is. He was feeding Mark. Well, here's the thing. Mark was the one feeding everybody. It wasn't Mark's job. Mark was the one who booked us, So Mark's like, I brought the things, but here's the thing. One volunteer should start jumping into it, and then all the other volunteers see it, and he goes, so they kind of ravaged it. He's like, okay, well, whatever. He's like, but there's some left. We get back there. It's pizza. It's not Cornwall pizza. It's not like, hey, this is our local... it's like, no, it's pizza. And I'm like, okay, well, and it was ordered 2 hours prior.
So it's old pizza.
So it's old, cold. Yeah. Old, cold pizza. For anyone in Ontario, I don't know if it's Canadian. Is pizza Canadian? Do you think it's like
No idea.
Nationwide or just Ontario kind of thing?
I don't think Dominic's is.
Domino's. There you go, Mom.
And,
Domino's is definitely nationwide, and it's a U.S. company, so you're way off on that one.
Well, I don't
and
think
I also
it's
got the
Canadian
name wrong.
Is what I said.
No, it's not Canadian. Sorry, I thought I meant nationwide. Do you think pizza's across the entire country?
I don't think so. It sounds to me like an American company.
No, pizza's not American. It's got a Canadian flag right.
Well, it's not Cornwall.
No, it is certainly not Cornwall. No, so that's the funny thing. Is it's like I'm bringing you guys Cornwall pizza.
There are people in the water already. Look.
Yep, there's people in the water. We're driving past Mooney's Bay. If you feel like Googling that, people all over the world listening. Anyways, so the show the second night went off fine, except, this is going to sound like a hate crime. There was like 4 gay guys right in the front row who were already sauced when the show started. and just heckling and me. Like one of them was so. At one point, I was like, "You ladies need to shut the fuck up." But here's the thing: this is why I call them ladies. They were acting like a bachelorette party where they were drunk, wooing, disruptive, wouldn't shut the fuck up. And I kept saying, "You guys are white girl wasted right now." And actually, it was only two of them. The other two were being like, were perfect gentlemen. I was just joking. The crowd was having a great time. We were laughing. Everything was going well. So I don't have anything against gay people. You guys fucking know that. But it was just the way these guys were so drunk and they were acting so obnoxious, loud, disruptive. I gotta go. It's this room. I'm doing a great job, by the way, of multitasking, holding this recorder and still driving.
Ow, my car.
Ow, my car. It's fine. We went slow.
All the holes you're going into.
I'm not going into them. God damn it. Geez. How much longer do you have on this earth? Right, Mom? We're so happy to be together. So happy together.
Yeah, when this car was your car, you were careful.
I'm careful with it now. I believe in you.
No, you don't.
I do. I believe in you. This podcast is so boring to my listeners right now. Trying to think of what else I did this week. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm over the show. So the shows came and went. WAP wasn't on the Saturday show. I drove down by myself, drove back. I listened to The Happiness Equation. I finished The Happiness Equation, as a matter of fact. It's a great book, Mom. Are you a happy person?
Yep.
Nope, you're bullshit. You're full of shit. You're always angry.
What is it, the right answers for this or what?
No, I'm just wondering how self-aware you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Are you happy? Are you fulfilled in life?
Sure, why not?
Why not? Oh, shall we start?
Yeah.
This will be your sequel podcast. I hung out with Crystal on Sunday. Was it Sunday? No, Saturday. Saturday we watched, it was before I left the thing. We hung out, we watched Leaving Neverland. You watched that too.
I watched it by myself.
You watched it by yourself?
Yeah, my own house.
It's a very hard movie to masturbate to. Would you not agree?
I don't do that.
You don't do that? Here's the funny thing. Oh, and this is really off the rails. Probably make a lot of people.
You never know when you're going to need your hands.
You never know when you're going to need your hands? You can do what I'm holding this recorder with one hand. And
yeah, well.
It's called multitasking.
Yeah.
I thought women pride themselves. Here's the thing. When regular people say that they don't masturbate, nobody believes them, right? Because it's the kind of thing that everybody does. But here's the thing. I've been very lucky in my life because I think that I'd barf my guts out if it was actually the opposite. I'm going to thank this person. I just was the dick that drove all the way to the end of the closing line. Thank you very much. What do you mean you don't understand? You don't masturbate. That's the thing. That's a real thing that I believe. Even if it's a lie, it's the best gift you've ever given me to tell me that you don't masturbate. Because you masturbating would make me throw up my organs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why? So why don't you masturbate?
Because I never got into it.
Never got into it?
No, never got into it.
Because you were always very open about liking sex.
I always, when you masturbate, who do you talk to afterwards? Like,
yeah. That makes perfect sense, actually, because you're a fucking talker.
Yeah.
You're like, when you masturbate, who do you talk to? You can go back to whoever. It's kind of like...
And that's why you don't fuck everything that comes along either, because you might have to talk to them later. Some people aren't worth talking to. That's honestly been a big motivator for me not to fuck. I'm serious, not to fuck people, because I'm like, if I don't like them as a person, I can't get into them. But literally.
But that's interesting to me. But didn't you tell me that like your mom taught you it was dirty?
Oh yeah, when I was a kid, you were taught you were going to get hair on your hands and go insane. Because insane people masturbate, so they assume that masturbating caused the insanity instead of the other way around.
How can you be so educated on some things but not on others?
Who, me?
Yeah. So you never... Well, I'm sure at some point in your life you masturbated.
I don't recall doing it.
You really don't recall doing it?
No.
Well, but they were fine. Like, if you have sex, you're fine. But if you use a different kind of...
Well, sex is like masturbating on a person. Yeah, that's okay. What it is.
So basically what Hannibal Lecter did to Jodie Foster's character was fine.
I don't remember.
He masturbated, and then it wasn't Hannibal Lecter. It was that fucking other guy there, one of the creeps. She saw Hannibal Lecter. Remember he jerked off and threw it at her?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, okay, but according to that logic, masturbating on another person, it's fine. Basically masturbating's not a crime as long as you throw the seed on someone else, is what you're saying? My listeners are curious, Mom. There's a lot of rules.
This is really boring. You got to talk to an old lady about masturbating.
I don't know. I think that it's like probably most people be uncomfortable talking to their mother about masturbating.
Yeah.
I think I'm only comfortable talking about it because I know that you don't. Did you know that I actually considered as it was a thought that came and went very quickly. I considered getting you like a dildo because you haven't had sex in so long, and you're saying how much you missed it. Like not at dinner or anything, but
Jesus Christ! Look, this is
what happens when you tell me I'm whining about not being fed at a show.
The first 20 years of not having sex is hard. After that, you don't even think about it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
The first 20 years. There you go.
20 years.
I would imagine most people listening probably haven't gone 20 years without having sex.
So you can, call me later if you think I'm right.
Call you later? You want me to give them your phone number?
Yeah.
No.
Call me when they're 20 years in and tell me if they agree.
Some Audi guy's trying to edge me out. What a piece of shit. I'm still doing amazing at driving. I hope that you're not too quiet. I hope that this little thing goes off well. It's going to be
What little thing? We've been talking about masturbation.
No, I'm saying the whole podcast. I've been recording the entire podcast right now. Everything. I'm not editing this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Crystal and I watched Leaving Neverland. And it's funny. It came up because Casey and I were chatting about Leaving Neverland. He's not seen it. I see it. He's not seen it yet. But he was telling me what his thoughts are on it. Basically, because a lot of people are going through the information. Like, a lot of people are getting the information and then, like, trying to fact check it, but no one's watching it. Like, I've heard 3 different comics. Sorry, it's just me dragging. 3 different comics that I know have not refused to see it, but they're all like, but this, and that. So, it's interesting. I watched it because of that. I got you to watch it. What did you think?
I thought that Macaulay Culkin probably was lying then when he said that what's his name, didn't do anything inappropriate.
Michael Jackson, okay.
Because 2 of them said the same thing. No, nothing happened. And they didn't really realize it was wrong until they had children of their own and they didn't want it to happen to their kids.
Yeah, so that all over the place kind of review from my mom is, if anyone still doesn't know what it is, it's basically a documentary about 2 guys who were allegedly, because that's really at the end of the day, no matter what they say, it's still alleged, right? Because none of us were there, none of us have proof. Because
justice costs money in the United States.
Well,
if you've got it, you can get justice.
Anyways, I would still very strongly recommend to anyone to watch it. My biggest takeaway from it wasn't so much like, hey, Michael Jackson's a molester or these kids are lying or any of that stuff. It was more just, it was a pretty interesting look. Let's say the entire thing is fictitious. It's a pretty interesting look at how pedophiles groom their victims and prey on them. And I went into that thing thinking, like, what parent would let their kids sleep with Michael Jackson? Are these kids are like money grabbers or whatever. And my impression after watching it was like, holy shit, Michael Jackson molests these kids. And you actually have a little bit of empathy for the parents, because it's not just like, Michael Jackson meets them and go, hey, can your kid come over and sleep over at my house? No, like, he would go and sleep at their houses and spend time with the families and have sleepovers in their living room. And it was really nothing. And then just one day it's like, hey, look what I made. And everyone's getting, wowed and enthralled and charmed and all this stuff.
He bribes the parents with things they want.
Yeah. And it wasn't, but even that sounds like it was like he would say, hey, listen, let the kids sleep with me and I'll give you this. And he wasn't doing that. It was, hey, come stay here. And he was mesmerizing everybody. And while he was, at one stage with one kid, he'd be at a different stage with another kid. So he was constantly, again, all of this alleged, none of us were there, but it was really interesting. Watching it with Crystal too, she was really fascinated by it. I really enjoyed watching it with her. And the funny thing too, one of the things I really liked is that she was cracking jokes through it. Like, not the whole thing, but just a couple little, like, we'd get to this heavy shit, and then when it was over, she'd crack like just a little joke or whatever. Because it's my sense of humor too, right? It's just when something's really heavy, you almost have to like crack a joke just to break the tension of like the dark shit that you're seeing.
If I had been watching it when you guys were little, it would have fucking terrified me.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times I almost got you guys a Big Brother or something. And then I'd hear a story, and that'd be the end of the Big Brother for a while.
Yeah.
Even Scoutmasters, for fuck's sake.
Oh yeah, and the priests and all that shit. Spotlight's one I'd like to watch. Did you see that one?
Nope.
Spotlight. I think Spotlight's a documentary, but it's about the church.
Well, this Pope seems to be a fairly good Pope as popes go, but he still hasn't.
He's not poping the kids.
He hasn't. He hasn't apologized for that.
Well, you can't. I don't think. Like realistically. Right? Because the first thing that they tell you in anything is you can't apologize for something because apologizing, makes you guilty, right?
Well, the church has lots of money. They should be able to pay lots of people. Whoever's left after 10,000 years of Christianity,
yeah,
they should be able to pay who's left.
Do you think that Catholicism makes you gay?
No, because you're not gay when you screw little boys. You're a weakling, bad character, heterosexual.
Do you think that the positive takeaway from the pedophilia is that nobody attacks the homosexuality of fucking a little boy? No one's ever like, he fucked a kid, what a fag. You know what I mean? Like they never seem to have the homophobia related to the pedophilia.
I think
I'm joking, by the way.
Pedophiles.
Any listener that hears this, if this ever becomes a soundbite 20 years from now in my career, right? Josh Williams says that the positive takeaway of pedophilia is that they don't attribute homophobia.
Well, if they get a 5-second clip, they can't get all of that, can they?
No, my career's over.
5-second clip of you saying that.
They're gonna ruin my career, Mom. I don't get to drive to Cornwall and not be fed anymore. I'm not editing it out. Fuck that. I hope that my 12 listeners will come to my rescue someday, as millions of people say I'm a child rape apologist.
I'd edit a lot of stuff of old ladies masturbate.
No, I think that the best part of this episode is me asking you why you don't masturbate. I think that you'd be a less cranky old cunt if you... I'm sorry. Miserable. I'm joking. I could never...
You're miserable.
Oh, that's a soundbite right there. That's when I wasn't joking about that one. That one I was serious. You guys can end my career for calling my mom a C word to her face. I love you though, Mom. I do love you. And I'm confident calling you the C word because I'm confident you won't remember it. Do you know where you are right now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because you didn't remember where we were going when we first got there.
Kentucky.
I don't get that.
Well.
Do you care to explain why that's funny?
No.
Okay, I thought so.
You never think anything I say is funny.
I think what you say is funny sometimes. I think the stuff that you say is funny is the stuff that you didn't know was funny when you said it. What? Yeah, we're getting... Fucking traffic. Mom, this has been one hell of a drive, eh? I have been on the road for at least 46 minutes. Actually, I was on the phone for like a good 15, 20 minutes when this first started. So, yeah. And I really do hope that all the sound is coming through. Sound quality might be really shit on this. I might be too close to it, too. But yeah, I gotta say, so far this week, I have watched Avengers Endgame. Great movie. It is the last movie that a lot of the characters are going to be in, just for the reasons that they don't want to do it anymore. So they could come back, maybe or maybe not. But
they got to tie him.
Yeah, just shut up.
Yeah.
There's a lot. The Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't end with this. There's still more movies, but the original characters, all of their contracts have expired. And
like a chapter.
It's Saga. They call it the Infinity Stone Saga. So everything from the first Iron Man movie to Avengers Endgame has been wrapped up, so to speak. I'm letting one car in. I'm not letting all of them in. Someone pick. You get greedy. I'm not letting you in. Come on, white fucking Toyota RAV4. See, that's someone being greedy. I've made a hole for her to come in, and she's decided, no, me. And she's flying up the side there. Nope, I'm not letting her in. I hope no one else does. Even though I did that like 20 minutes ago.
You're such an angry person.
Am I angry? I don't feel angry right now. I feel very calm.
I don't know. You're just always ranting.
What are you getting me for dinner?
I don't know. What do you want?
That was easy.
You are the grifter of all time.
Hey, I'm getting better at it though. Yeah. I used to have to grift. Now I can just ask.
Now you don't care.
I'll
never retire because I'm feeding you.
No, you're going to retire. You're going to retire right into the ground. I'll retire. Yeah. So
I'll just have juice.
You'll have Jews?
I'll just have juice.
I know.
Eat.
No one knows what you're saying. So yeah, go see Endgame. If you honestly, have you ever seen anything like it, Mom? In terms of just the star power, the action, whatever. Have you ever seen a movie that big?
There's so much going on. You have to watch it again. I just don't want to go to the show and watch it again.
There's a lot of really nice special effects in movies like Avatar and stuff. But Avatar, in that movie, you meet the characters, you learn the characters, all that. They spent 22 movies getting to Endgame.
What's his name? James Cameron's going to have to up his game to compete with this.
Oh yeah, $1.2 billion opening weekend.
I heard 1.
Well, they might be at 1.5 today, but they were 1.
They were 2 point something, which is 1.5 billion more than anyone else has ever done.
The opening weekend, I was reading, the opening weekend did 1.2 million total, which is shattered box office weekends. But James Cameron's Avatar did I think it was 2.8 over its entire run in theaters, and Endgame is on pace to do well more than that. So it's already won a shitload of records.
If it wasn't Kevin Smith, I've been watching so many people. There was 2 guys, maybe it's the geek guys. I don't remember which their name is. Anyway, they said they were 1.5 billion above and beyond anybody else, and then they started talking about 4 days or 2 days, or how do they measure it? And some places measure it different than other places.
I changed my mind. I'm going back.
It didn't used to be that they opened on Thursday nights, so you didn't used to have Thursday night box office to add to it. But then they went all over the world, and I got a picture of it.
I know, you sent it to me. You sent it to me. Don't worry. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Squares of all the places
all the different records. Yes. So, anyways, but I don't know if anyone's even invested. If I have listeners who don't give a shit about the Marvel movies, like Peter, then all of this is nothing. Anyways,
Peter Parker?
Go see it. No, go see Endgame. You should, if you have HBO, which in Canada I think you only get it on Crave. Watch Leaving Neverland. I'd love to know what you guys think of that. Basically, it's a whole, like, a lot of people are like, I don't think Michael Jackson did it, blah, blah, blah. It's basically you watch it and you're like, did he not? Think of it as like the Making a Murderer of Michael Jackson. You watch it and you go, how the fuck, except we all knew. This guy, the fucking James Avery or whatever his name is, Stephen Avery, nobody knew who the hell he was, really, except people in Manitowoc, whereas we all knew Michael Jackson. We all saw the cases happen and unfold.
But these people have big organizations to make them look good. People don't go around saying John Lennon used to slap his wives around, but that's apparently the truth.
He used to smack them around?
He used to slap his wives around, even Yoko Ono.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. She's fucking crazy. I mean, that bitch would...
He even said, when somebody mentioned it to him, he even said, oh yeah, a lot of peaceniks like to slap their wives around. It's because of the guilt. He even said that. And who would have expected that from
Lennon?
John Lennon?
Well, a lot of these fucking guys are... Sorry, I was letting someone in and now someone's taking extra advantage. Who else is it? Like, there's a lot of these dudes where they're like, yeah, they're good on one hand, and then they fucking, they do something terrible on the other.
Well, what's his name that used to be in 2 Men and 2.5 Men?
You're talking about Charlie, yeah, but he was never good.
His wives around.
Yeah, but he's a piece of shit. I'm talking about, like, you got people like, oh, Michael Jackson helped kids. It's like, yeah, but then he was fucking them.
Well, here's a guy that everybody loved. Smokey and the Bandit.
Burt Reynolds.
Jesus Christ. Everybody who knew him loved him. But he was at least 3 wives he smacked around.
Yeah.
So
he was a serial smacker. Now, in all fairness, none of us were there. We don't know how annoying Sally Field was off camera. I just keep saying this to try to bother you, Lonnie Anderson.
Yeah.
I love how you'll say the name of a show and expect me to know exactly who you're talking about. And I don't like that I can translate your fucking dementia.
Yeah, you're pretty good. I hope you can find someone who can translate your dementia.
I don't have dementia yet. Mm-hmm. My listeners just hear me basically. I don't sit and say to my listeners, what's that thing there? Try to tell them a story and go, what's that thing there? You know, listeners. Anyways, that one there. And and they were in a thing that I found to be interesting. I find it's a lot like that other thing I was telling you about.
Tell them about Star Wars.
No, I'm not telling them about anything. Fuck you. I don't take requests. You want me to tell them something? You send an email.
The slug and the
Oh, for fuck's sakes! I just got a text message from Nick that he's not coming on the trip. If I reschedule, I'm waiting another 5 months at least. All right, well, there we go. So I'm going to have to find yet another person to come on that trip.
What trip?
To New York. I'm going to New York on Monday. Spoiler alert, that was coming later in the podcast. I was going to tell my people where I'm going. Doesn't matter. Go to New York next week, guys, if you want to know what's going on with me. Yeah, whatever.
You want me to come?
Nope.
All right.
Nope, I don't want you to come. Thank you. Not
right,
interested. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday anyway, so you can't get that time off work.
Well, I could if I asked for it.
Well, no. I don't. No, I appreciate it, but I'm going with somebody else. The last thing I do is I'm here with my friend and my mom. I spend enough time with you.
Oh, I thought you had nobody to go with. That's what it sounded
No, I need a third person, so this is always a new fucking issue. I'll tell you that much.
You're so tense.
I'm not. Yeah, of course I'm tense. Shit like this happens all the time. What were we talking about? Leaving Neverland. Watch Leaving Neverland.
We're talking about the gerbils and the slugs.
No, you wanted me to talk about that. I'm not talking about it.
You're bankrupt.
Yeah, I'm just. Honestly at this point I'm exhausted.
Never talk about anything I want to talk about.
You only want to talk about Trump and all sorts of other bullshit nobody cares about. Anyways, yeah. Mom, I'm glad you watched Leaving Neverland. Again, it's all alleged. That's the worst part of it. Is I really honestly encourage you guys to watch Leaving Neverland and then listen to my podcast with Casey Corbin. I strongly, if you go see one movie this year, Avengers Endgame, I really don't know how that movie wouldn't be up for Oscars, just in terms of the cinematic shit that they've done. Visually, they deserve it. It's so rewarding just to see. It's really quite a spectacle. It is. But they've done something unprecedented. 22 movies. Most TV series don't get 22 episodes in a season. I'm good. So, yeah. Oh, and I can do my reviews. I'll have to lead into the sponsors, because normally I will talk about what's going on next week or whatever at this point. So I'm going to have to just leave a couple of seconds pause so I can see the wavelengths on GarageBand, so I know where to insert this, so I can give a review of. I can give a review. So I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to give a 5-second, 10-second beat with no sound. Hey, onesies, it is time for Uncle John's Bathroom Reader from my partners at Portable Press. portablepress.com, and this week, much like the Avengers, they are unstoppable. I'm reading from Uncle John's Unstoppable Bathroom Mirror. I really sometimes stretch to make sure that there's relevance between the book title and what I've been talking about. This is a very heavy Avengers themed one, but I'll be honest, the nerd in me has been waiting for this movie for 10 years. More like 7-8 years since that very first moment I saw Thanos turn and smile at the end of the Avengers movie, the very first Avengers movie. I was like, there's no way they're going Thanos, Infinity Stone. So, Unstoppable, Uncle John's Unstoppable Bathroom Reader. And considering Avengers has made $1.2 billion, they're making a fortune. I picked an article called Made a Fortune. Uncle John grew up near an old, crumbling outhouse way out in the woods, but now he has a lavish two-holer right in his backyard. Here are some other people who have come from humble beginnings to achieve great wealth. Jim Carrey, from rags. He had to drop out of high school and take a job as a janitor in a factory. In fact, his entire family worked in that factory, living in a small cottage on the grounds. At his lowest low, Carrey wrote a $10 million check to himself to be redeemed when he made the big time. To riches. After working the comedy circuit for years, Carrey landed a role in Living Color, which led to a movie deal, which was Ace Ventura. That's not in the book. In 1996, he became the highest paid actor ever when he received $20 million to star in Cable Guy. When his father died, Carrey placed the check he had written to himself in his dad's burial suit. Oh, that's nice. J.K. Rowling, that's the Harry Potter chick. From rags. As a single mother living on public assistance, Rowling started writing Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in a cafe while her baby daughter napped. Why the cafe? Because it was warmer than the tiny flat she lived in. Flat is what they call apartments. When Bloomsbury Books bought her manuscript in 1996, she was thrilled. The £1,500, about $2,400, American, I assume. She was advanced, was more money than she'd ever received at one time in her life. Okay, so let's try that again. The £1,500, about $2,400, she was advanced, was more money than she'd ever received at one time in her life. Of course, it's a ton of money. To riches. 4 years and 3 more books later, Rowling was worth more than $400 million, and she's not done yet. No, because she's still making shit. And finally, Oprah Winfrey. From rags, born in Mississippi to unwed teenage parents, Winfrey grew up in poverty. While living in Milwaukee, she was molested by relatives. Not knowing what else to do, her mother sent her to live in a detention home. Jesus. To riches. Fortunately, the detention home was full, and Winfrey went to live with her father. He nurtured her abilities and helped her get to college. Now, as the queen of the talk show... Oh, this is also like 16 years ago. Now, as the queen of the talk show, Winfrey is worth an estimated $1 billion. Running feet. Baby seals are called wieners. Yeah, Uncle John's bathroom reader, guys, made a fortune. There's also an article right next to it called Lost a Fortune. And if you guys want to hear me read that one next week, send me an email, contact@onemanpodcast.com. Other than that, that is my friends at portablepress.com. Uncle John's a bathroom reader. As always, check out portablepress.com and see what they have in their lineup there. And also my friends at Absolute Comedy. My friends at Absolute Comedy. I got some dates on the calendar coming up this summer and fall. But in the meantime, there are amazing shows at Absolute Comedy, Ottawa, Toronto, Kingston. Check out absolutecomedy.ca.
Absolute Comedy is the best live stand-up comedy from across North America, with locations in Kingston, Toronto, and Ottawa, Ontario. These comedians have been featured on Just for Laughs, Netflix, Comedy Central, CBC's The Debaters, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Conan, The Comedy Network, and much, much more. Go to absolutecomedy.ca to see this week's lineup. Planning a night out is easy with dinner and show packages available at all locations. Live comedy is a great choice if you're organizing a celebration, fundraiser, company outing, or corporate event. Want the show brought to you? They'll send comedians to your venue with performances tailored to your event, creating a night of laughs your guests will love and won't soon forget. So for showtimes, ticket prices, gift certificates, special shows, and more, head to absolutecomedy.ca. Again, that's absolutecomedy.ca for the best live stand-up comedy from across North America.
All right, you guys heard the sponsors, both the Uncle John's bathroom reader, huh? Did you like that selection that I made for you? I'm still in the car, so I'm going to go home and record that. Do a little time travel, huh? Is that an Avengers game? Endgame? Is that an Avengers Endgame spoiler? Yeah. Anyone who's watched the fucking anything about it knows that there's time travel. That's the only spoiler. There's time travel involved in it.
Quantum travel. They know about quantum travel.
Well, maybe, whatever. It's been theorized about everything. So if you're really so nerdy that you don't want spoilers, whatever, there's an element of time. So I will be time traveling later to go back to what you guys just heard. My sponsors from Portable Press, right, and Absolute Comedy. But I will do the review of the book. Huh? I read a book, Mom, from DK.
Wow.
You know, it's called Leaders That Changed History, I believe. I'll have to remember the exact name of it. As a matter of fact, I wrote it down here. So I read a great DK book. Okay. Come on here. I got to buy time while I fucking bring this up. I'm stuck in traffic, so I'm not texting and driving here, everybody. The book, I believe it's called Leaders That Changed History, or Leaders of Great Leaders of the World. But it's coming up right here, and the book is called, fuck's sakes, Leaders Who Changed History. That's what I said. Is that what I said, Mom?
I thought that was what you said.
That's what I said. Leaders Who Changed History. So you don't have to be a Captain America or Tony Stark or Thor, son of Odin, king of Asgard, to be a great leader. You could be all sorts.
It says they changed history. It doesn't say they were great.
Well, leaders, I think you have to be great to change history. You know what this book, Mom, is about? It's about all sorts of great leaders. They have all sorts of different sections of this book. I'm going from memory at this point from what I read. But they have great leaders like Nelson Mandela. And what I really like about this book is that they actually segregate the sections. So some of the leaders were social leaders. Some of them were like military and not industrial, but what's the word I'm looking for? military and
Commercial leaders.
continental and country leaders. Some of them were leaders of change, social change, right? They've got, Marx's in the book. They got Marx, what's his name? Karl Marx?
Karl Marx.
Karl Marx in the books. What do you know about Karl Marx?
I know that he created comedy from standing Hegel upside down. And part of his idea about communism came from Native Indians in North America and the way they used to share everything.
Well, you get a pass for saying Native Indians because you're old. Do you know what they're called now? You work for the government.
Indigenous people.
Aboriginals, motherfucker. Doesn't matter. They call them different things in the States. I think they're still calling them Native Americans in the States. They're behind the times.
A lot of the people I know who are Native have no problem with Indian. They don't have a problem saying.
You're saying natives have no problem being called Indian?
I know people who are natives who tell me they don't have a problem with Indian.
Wow, that's weird.
That's one of those things.
Because we keep changing the name because the whole idea is that we're getting it wrong.
It's, according to Aaron, it's one of these things that white people think that other people should be upset about. So they change things without even asking the other people what they think.
Or it could be this. You know that Sam Rothstein, that's Robert De Niro's character in Casino, he had to keep changing his title in order to keep his gambling license. And you know who else has a lot of gambling licenses? Aboriginals. That is an incredibly clever tie-in that I just made. So maybe that's what they're doing. They're going to keep changing the titles. I've been very offensive in many ways in this.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything connected to driving? Maybe it's the road rage, Mom. Maybe driving makes me an angry person.
Angry.
I'm not actually angry.
You're always
I just like bothering you. Bothering you is one of my favorite things.
Ron used to be.
Just know that as much as just know that when you die, irritating you will not be something I can do anymore, and I will suffer a loss at that point.
Masturbation.
Yeah, I masturbate actually. It's funny, you think everyone in Wakanda is atheist because you can't be that technologically advanced and be so stupid, but you're like, masturbating makes your palms hairy and makes you blind.
I didn't say that. I said that's what we were told.
Yeah, but you must have believed it. You don't believe in Jesus, but you believe in if masturbating makes you go crazy. I'll tell you what makes me. I'll tell you, not masturbating makes me go crazy.
I don't like getting my hands dirty.
You don't like getting your hands dirty?
It's sticky.
Oh God, disgusting. You don't have to buy me dinner anymore. I'm not hungry.
Good. All right. I'll have to remember that.
So yeah, leaders. Oh, poor DK. Right in the middle of me reviewing their book, who talked about you masturbating. They don't deserve this.
You're gonna have to edit.
Thank God. No, I'm not editing. No, I'm not. I'm not editing it. I love them, and they know I love them. And I'm really sorry for anyone who tuned in specifically to see my review of Leaders DK books, to hear all that. But they do. They have a lot of great leaders in it. They actually, believe it or not, have Vladimir Putin in that books. And you know what? Not every leader changed history for the better.
Right.
I will say that. Trump. But a lot of the different, fuck off with the Trump shit. There's a lot of leaders in the book, but they go back to the early stuff. They have, not Rosa Parks, but there's another one in there. Fuck. I wish I wasn't doing this from memory. But I'm telling you, it's a great book. You're going to have to take my word for it. Again, you don't have to be a Captain America, Tony Stark, or Thor to be a great leader, to be a superhero, to make change and to change history.
Tommy Douglas.
Tommy Douglas is a great Canadian.
Has always been the greatest Canadian because he created healthcare.
Yeah, he's the greatest Canadian, but nobody. Listen, DK is an international company. They're Dorling Kindersley. They are absolutely amazing, and they don't. I don't think Tommy Douglas is in it.
Other people know about Tommy Douglas, just Americans. Americans refuse to pay any attention to anything that makes sense about healthcare. They're like, they put their head in a fucking hole like an ostrich. They just can't get it in their heads that if the many pay for healthcare.
I don't even know if they can hear you. You're talking so quietly right now.
You're going to have to edit it.
I'm not editing anything. I'm not giving myself extra work. What about Castro? Castro was a leader.
Castro was a bad guy in some ways, but in Cuba they have free healthcare, they have free education. You can go all the way to university in Cuba.
Yeah. Do you know who?
They have more equality than any other Latin American country between men and women.
Do you know who Bhutto is? It's a chick.
She's from India.
Benazir Benazir Bhutto. Is she Pakistan or Indian?
I think Pakistani.
She's Pakistani. Do you know much about her? She's in the book.
Yeah, well, her father was in power before her. They have dynasties over there.
Yeah.
Dynasties in India. They have dynasties in Pakistan.
I just think that with great power comes great responsibility. That's from Spider-Man, yeah. So I just have to review. I have to say that fucking swearing needlessly. The DK has done another masterful job with their book. If you're a history buff like me, and obviously I wasn't sure how I was going to segue to the Leaders book, only because I've still got 2 great books I'm trying to finish in order to give them their proper dues. I've been flying through a lot of books. The Leaders book is really, really good. I learned a lot about people that I didn't know. And my listeners will like me when I do my broad strokes reviews, because they don't like sitting around listening to me do 20 minutes on a book. But the Leaders book is great. Nelson Mandela, Karl Marx, the Bhutto chick. I can only remember her last name, Castro. If you're like all these people who only get painted with a certain brush, just to learn a little bit more about them. Learn about the leaders who changed history. I don't know. I can't remember. If the book was in front of me, I'd go to the index and I'd tell you every person who's in it. But I don't remember Trudeau being a part of it. But guys, Leaders Who Changed History, great book, dk.com/ca in Canada, dk.com in the States, or just Google DK Books wherever you are in the world and get yourself a copy of Leaders Who Changed History. It is a very, very good book. It was a great read. The 2 books, Mom, that I've been trying to get to forever is the feminism book from the Big Ideas Simply Explained series. That one that you like, that has all the different books, the science book, the psychology book, all that shit. Yeah, well, they've got a whole book on feminism to learn that feminism is not a bad thing. It's not a feminazi thing. Go. Fuck, people are stupid. Again, plugging DK while beeping at someone and yelling at them. The feminism book. And from the Smithsonian, I've got Women, Our Story. And it's kind of like the history of women. It's a real short read. You guys haven't done much.
See, there you go. It's a short read.
No, I'm kidding. I think I've read longer pamphlets. No, I'm kidding. No, it's a great book. It's got a lot in it. And it just talks about how important women have been throughout history.
No, wouldn't have been anymore.
Well, no, I'm not reviewing that one right now. But I'm saying I'm trying to read the book. All right, it's a real dull read. I get about half a page and I fall asleep. I'm just doing this to piss you off. I'm just doing this to piss you off.
No, you are.
No, it's a good read, and I'm going to review it when I'm finished because it deserves that. I didn't want to give it a half-assed review. I think women get a bad shake. I'll be honest, just so I'm not kissing women's ass and I'm not losing on my male listeners. You guys, no, I'm serious. There's just as many crazy women as there is crazy men. There's just as many self-righteous women as there is men or whatever. But there's also just as many good women, influential women, courageous women, powerful women. And you guys have had the short end of the stick for a long time. You're getting a little on top right now, and it's turning you a bit cunty. But no, I'm just kidding. No, but these books, they deserve my full attention. And I'm going to review them when I'm done with them. But I'm still plugging away at the feminism book and Women, Our Story from the Smithsonian. I will have those books to review soon because I really want to get some interesting things that I didn't know about women. You know, I learned that, the clitoris, that's the G-spot.
And where are your hands when you're reading these books?
There's nothing sexual about them. In fact, if you've ever listened to a woman talk about her day, these women are the written equivalent of that. But no, I'm just joking. There's some real information, and it's I'm glad that women are kind of in the spotlight right now. Only in the sense that you're sitting here next to me. I'll be nice to you for a minute. I will for a minit, and that's it. So you better not waste it by talking over me. But no, the two strongest women that I've ever met in my life are you and Crystal. You're both single moms. You both work very, very hard. You both made big sacrifices. So just I have a respect for women. I've never been someone who treats women like they're shit or whatever. That's why I'd never gotten anyone pregnant or whatever. You're also incredibly boring. Not you and Crystal, but just women. I'm really whatever. This is turning into it's not even a book review. I'm giving you a compliment off of a book I haven't reviewed yet. Leaders Who Changed History, Mom. Great book. You're not in that book. You know why? You ain't done nothing. You gave the world me, and maybe one day they'll write about you because of it. But
still alive.
Yeah, I'm still alive. That is a good observation.
Yeah.
Point is, Leaders Who Changed the World, guys. Get your copy. It's a great book. I'm actually really enjoying listening to and learning about this thing called women and life and leaders and all that stuff. All right, This week coming up, guys, I got an LCBO activation that I'm going to be doing 4 days straight. I'm going to New York early next week with one less person, according to the text message that I just received. So that's going to be an interesting thing. It looks like I got to spend the next week finding that out. Who is going to come? Hey, any listeners want to go to New York impromptu? Because I got an extra spot. We got an Airbnb. What else? Finishing up my taxes. I've only got like a day left of my taxes to do, Mom. Very excited about that. Yeah, you're not here anymore?
I got mine done Sunday.
Good for you. Yeah, but you don't work as hard as I do. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, so I'm going to be finishing taxes. I am doing some LCBO activations. No comedy this week, which means I'll be feeding myself. It's a good way to make sure you get fed. And what else? That's it. Prepping for the New York trip. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It's kind of a quick sign-off only because I've arrived at the dealership this entire time I've been behind the wheel, and I hope that the audio has come through clear enough. If it sucks, well, then just wait for episode 104 where I'll be back in front of the desk to do the podcast. But I hope you guys have a great week. Check out Endgame. Please tell me what you thought. If you saw it, what did you think? Are you happy with it? Have you been a fan the whole time? Did you just do like a power catch-up, whatever the fuck it is? Contact at onemanpodcast.com. Love to hear from you. Other than that, I will chat with you guys next week.